Welcome to our special Women's History Month series. This series looks at the voices and achievements of local female leaders. Today, we celebrate Robin Waltz. Robin is one of those women who inspires you the moment you're in her presence. She has had an incredible career in and outside of the nonprofit world, and we talk about the challenges of both, as well as what retirement looks like for somebody who has a heart for giving back.
So tell me a little bit about how you got into your role at the United Way and what you do at the United Way.
Okay, well, I took this role on, the United Way, I should say, 11 years ago. I had previously worked at a local medical device company as their HR director. Took a couple of years off to stay home with my kids who were teenagers at the time. And
that had to have been an interesting time.
Well, it was interesting. I didn't stay when they were little. I stayed when they were teenagers. I'm not sure what that means.
That's when they need the most guidance, right?
I guess so.
Yes.
I guess so. There was a lot going on at that time, too. They're very active. Was approached about this position. I was well aware of the United Way through my previous position because we had United Way campaigns. And we always utilized United Way as our charitable advisor, so to speak, because it encompasses so much in the county. So I was well aware of it. I was familiar with the director and the previous director. And so I said, yeah, I'll join. And so I joined as the community resources coordinator. There's only 2 positions there. So it was myself, and then I worked with Allison Kearns at the time. And it was eye-opening because it is nonprofit, and I came from a for-profit company. So, just the realization that, hey, this is donor dollars. People are donating their money. They want it to go to where they want it to go, or they want us to make the wisest decision and be transparent about that. And that's what I appreciate about this organization is, there's 2 people that work there, but it's really run by a group of community volunteers. We have 19 board members, and I administer really what they advise, type of thing. And I just appreciate it. They are thoughtful. They are empathetic to what's going on in the community. We have all walks of life, so we have different viewpoints, and
which is good.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're just like I said, very, very thoughtful, and the organization is very transparent. You can always go on to our website and you can say, okay, this is how much was donated and this is where it went. This is every penny where it went. So I just really appreciate it, have supported United Way in my previous life, supported now, obviously, since I work there. And I was there for 3 years, and then the position of president came open, and I was offered the position, and I took it.
Yeah.
And I love it. Yeah,
good.
I do.
I think you do a really good job over there, not just because you're sitting here with me, but you really do. I feel like for me, I find it more present, meaning I see it more, and it's more like I can get on Facebook, or you can get online, or in a newspaper, you see the United Way doing good things throughout the community, and it starts from the top. So
I appreciate that. I mean, that was a goal of mine, is to make sure that people knew what United Way did. I mean, when I first started in my career, we had United Way campaigns, and we all gave because the company wanted to have 100% participation, and that's what you did.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know what happened after that. What did they do in the community? So I wanted people to realize what we do in the community, and I wanted to make sure that we stayed relevant, and that we were a go-to organization. And so I think
you've done that.
Okay, I appreciate that, because we tried hard to do that. And then we have a couple of direct services, such as the VITA, the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, and the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, where we give free books to kids 0 to 5 years old in Tuscarawas County.
What is the best?
Isn't it great? I love it. Yeah, who doesn't love that?
And who doesn't love Dolly?
I know. She talk about staying relevant.
I know, right?
She's
decades long.
Yes, my children know who Dolly Parton is.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows who she is. And so, just really happy that we were able to do some of those programs more recently just, to give back to the community, and early childhood literacy and
The tax prep stuff, I think, is something that people don't often remember. But when I see it online and you're posting it and reminding folks, I'm like, that's such a valuable thing for folks. I mean, they don't teach it in school.
They don't.
So if you need help, you just go to the United Way and they'll help you.
We'll help you, and we won't charge you. It's free. We are very fortunate that we have about 27 volunteers who volunteer their time, and our preparers volunteer their time to get IRS certified. So they are IRS certified preparers, and they take it very, very seriously, and they love to do taxes, which I find it odd. I do.
I'm with you.
But they just do a wonderful job, and we'll see when people bring their taxes, and we ask, bring your previous taxes, because they like to compare, and we'll see where they've paid $200, $300 to have their taxes prepared, where we can do it for free.
It's crazy.
Yes.
The United Way is such an essential organization in Tuscarawas County, because you're like the hub of all of these other great entities that we definitely need.
Yeah. I mean, we fund 16 different programs in the county, and some of those programs wouldn't exist without the funding. And so, that's the wonderful thing about giving to the United Way, is just that your dollars, along with your neighbors, your coworkers, and your company, can make a large impact.
And it stays here.
Everything stays in Tuscarawas County.
Which is so great. Yeah. What was it like transitioning from, for-profit to a nonprofit world? And how has that been rewarding to you, knowing that you are helping so many people? I mean, you're not the face. Well, you are the face of the organization, but you're not. You are the one that they thank you for doing this for me. What does that feel like?
Well, it's great. I mean, it was a transition. I won't lie about that, because with the medical device company, I mean, we were in it to make money, and we did, and you worked hard and you played hard. That was a great group. It was a great experience working.
Sure.
But it really was just the bottom line. We gotta make money, make profit. And the stockholders need to make more money, and that's how
businesses work. Yeah.
And then coming to the nonprofit world and realizing that, I remember the first time I just started, and I had said, hey, we're having a day of caring, so we're gonna go out and help the community and spruce up other nonprofits, and we would go to museums.
Yeah, I forgot you did that. Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, everybody needs a T-shirt. Let's buy them shirts, and we're gonna buy some food. And my Allison Kearns, the president at the time, was like, okay, but you need to fundraise that. You need to. We don't use donor dollars for that kind of thing. You need to figure that out. It's like, oh, okay, because I was used to celebrating everything. And everybody got a shirt or a mug or and it's like, okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. We'll do that. I'll work with people.
And you do that now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We do that. So, but it was a bit of another thought process. I had to think of things differently, because that's just not how I grew up. Yeah.
That would be like a roadblock. Like, oh, wait, where do I go from here?
Right.
Then I think that allows you to think creatively to come up with ideas.
You do. You have to you have to be creative. And one of the things I really liked about it that was different, with my previous experience was, as my previous experience, the business got larger, more corporate, things took longer, and you lost the ability to make decisions quickly and act on them. It was slower, cumbersome. Yes. And here we're very nimble, we're very flexible. If there's a problem, if there's an emergency, we can act quickly. I'll use COVID as an example. It was March of 2020, and I called my board and I said, what are we going to do? We got to do something. It just happened. And, we got everybody on a conference call. We all discussed it. We discussed, what funds we had that we wanted to contribute, what we wanted to share with the rest of the community if they wanted to partner with us and contribute. And, it was days, boom, we had information out there for people to say, hey, if you want to partner with us, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
And it was, when people responded fabulously. And then we were able to make decisions on where that money went, who needed to, that money more quickly than others. And we were able to make those decisions just like that.
And a larger company probably wouldn't have had that.
It would have been difficult. It would have been difficult. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate the board too being so responsive to things like this. And that's just a big example, but that happens all the time with this organization.
You mentioned briefly that you had taken some time off to spend time with your kids when they were teenagers. Was that a difficult decision? Talk me through that process.
It was. I was the HR director at medical device company locally, and I loved that job. I loved it. And but I realized that I was too far, and I'd seen other people do this too far in the weeds. It was too far in the weeds, couldn't let it go, working crazy hours, working weekends, missing things. And I was one of few women who were on the executive board, or executive committee, I should say. And, I did strive early on, and I'll be honest, that I didn't want to be the woman on the board. I wanted to be on the board, or I call it a board. It was actually a committee.
Yeah.
It's the leadership committee. And I strived very hard to not
Be on that.
be the woman, be the one who has to take time off for this or that because of their children.
Yeah.
And I have a wonderful husband who is very supportive. I traveled a lot, and we made it work. But I just got to the point that I'm like, I need to do something different. Am I just going to do this and then boom, blink out? I need to do something different.
Are gone. Yeah.
Right. But I remember when I first told my kids that, hey, I'm gonna stay home and figure out what I'm doing. My daughter was like, oh, and I'm like, what? And she's like, I was very proud of you. She goes, I'm not. She was still proud of me, but she goes, I was proud of the work you did, and I was proud of that job, and I and she thought it was important, and so I appreciated that, that because because you know how you feel that, hey, am I doing the right thing? Am I am I causing some sort of trauma because I'm doing this? So it made me feel good, But then I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, look at that. Yeah. Can I come back?
Yeah. No, never mind. Can I come back? But I took some time off, and it was a struggle for me because I identified with that job. And so when people, I would be out and about, and somebody, just meet me, hey, what do you do? And I felt like I told them this whole long story that no one cared about. Yeah. But I felt like,
no, you're right.
This is what I did do. Mm-hmm. This is what I did do. And I would
it's like you lost your identity.
Right. And I just thought, wow, I sound crazy. They don't want to, they just asked how you doing. And I felt like I had to go on and on.
Right.
So it was a bit of a struggle to get through that identity crisis. That's how I identified myself.
When you were younger, like graduated high school, went on to college, did you see this in your future, like wanting to be a leader in the community, someone that has always been, one that women look up to? Is that something you wanted to be, or?
I'm going to say I didn't think of it that way. Okay. I really didn't. I mean, I think when I got the job, I started out as the receptionist. I wanted to work at Simmer. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I wanted to work there. They were promoting all the time. It was always in articles in the paper. Hey, who got promoted? Like, that's the place to be. I don't know if I really thought at that time where I wanted to be, but I remember I got the receptionist position. Didn't want the receptionist position.
Yeah.
but that's the opening they had, and I wanted to get in there. And it was great, and in 3 months I got promoted, and just,
Kept
moved
climbing.
from there. And what I, realized is, I needed to understand what they needed. I needed to be empathetic to the team and my boss, what did they need to be successful?
Yeah.
And I want to provide that, so it was always my thought is I need to make, and at that time it was a man, I need to make him successful, and make his life easier. But it worked. It worked really well. I mean, and they, recognized that I was a team player, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And got promoted through the ranks. Eventually took his position when he moved on. It was a wonderful experience. But and another thing that I realized was, I had talent. I didn't think about that when I got the job. I thought, hey, I'm here to serve. I'm glad I have a job, and I'm just going to serve. But I realized I have talents, and everybody around me has talents, and we all don't have the same talents.
Right.
And so, for instance, this is such a stereotype, but the finance people typically had difficulty communicating with other people.
That's it. But it's true. It's a stereotype, but it can be true sometimes.
Yeah. And I had difficulty with finances, that I
there you
didn't
go.
care for that type of, it was part of my job, but I was like, So, I always befriended the finance people, and helped them in, things that they, because there was, it's a stereotype, but it seemed like that was my world for a while. That they just didn't understand, why do I need to communicate with my team, or why don't they just know, or why don't, and so I would just help them and, hey, let's just write it down. Let's just every Thursday, just walk around and see how everyone's doing. Even if you don't really want to do it, it's part of your task, and just do it. And, I think it'll be helpful. And they found things like that helpful.
Wow.
And then in turn, when I was like, hey, I'm struggling here and I need some help with the finances or budgets and things like that, they were right there, Johnny on the spot, to help me. And so
Teamwork.
exactly. But, and I realized I had something to offer them as well as they had something to offer me. And that worked throughout the entire organization.
Right.
But I just think, that, women need to realize they do have something to offer.
Yeah.
And they need to, I don't know that I was that good at this, but they do need to advocate for themselves. Whether
We find ourselves kind of, it's troubling to do that sometimes. And I don't know why that is. Do you?
I don't know. Is it just some sort of innate? I don't know, but it is. I find I struggle with it, and I know others have as well. That people toot your horn. Nobody's going to toot your horn. You got to toot your own horn. Feel really weird about doing that.
Yeah.
And advocate for yourself, whether it's work-life balance or compensation.
Definitely.
That I mean, you have, and you have to, and if it's not, and it wasn't innate with me, write it down, right? That's what I would like, and I'd still do that. Write it down, and exactly what you want to say, what you mean, and there's nothing wrong with that in practice.
Yeah.
And so that you can go in there and speak from the heart.
And confidently.
And confidently, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, those are just things that, and things have changed too since then. Back when I started, we didn't have remote work or work-life balance, or it was.
And when you said about the identity crisis, I find that to be so common amongst stay-at-home moms. It's almost like they feel like they're not worthy enough.
It's crazy.
And I'm like, you're doing the Lord's work.
Absolutely.
You know?
It is crazy. It is
Yeah.
crazy that, because I had worked there so long, I did identify with that job, that position. But, if I had worked from home, I would hope that I would identify as well, and then feel that that's valued. And that's the thing, I do appreciate, with my children who are in their 20s now, that they understand the importance of all of this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I don't, because I
Didn't cause any trauma.
we'll see. I don't know. So far, so good.
Okay.
But they see the value of a work-life balance or staying at home. I mean, they understand how important both of those things are. We've had these conversations, and I just, I guess I'm thinking, wow, that's great that I hopefully we have moved forward in that respect.
Yeah.
That people feel that way. I didn't really feel that way back when I started, in the late 80s. I just didn't feel that. But I'm hoping, I guess, that people see the value in that, and that women who, whether you're working in an organization or you're staying at home and raising your children, that you realize your worth, and still, even when I said advocate for yourself, whether it's compensation, that was more of an organizational thing, but advocate for yourself with you're staying at home as well.
Yeah, definitely.
You are raising children,
Human beings.
human beings who are going to be valuable human beings in our community. I don't know what's more important than that.
Exactly. In terms of like Women's History Month, what does that mean to you, Women's History?
Well, I guess because I did actually look up International Day of Women.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to know really what that means, because
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
That's good.
And so, what I took away from what I had read, though, was just the equality of and celebrating the differences of people, that the uniqueness of people, whether male, female, different occupations, different ethnicities.
Yeah.
I kind of took it more broadly.
Yeah,
I
no,
know
I
it was
like that.
women.
Yeah.
But just celebrating the differences in people and recognizing everybody has a value and a viewpoint, and I think, and I'm going to go back to my children who one lives in New York City, one lives in Charlotte, North Carolina, but the groups of people they work with, one's in finance, one's in film, so totally different industries.
Different, yeah.
But they and just in their social life, in their work life, just the experiences they have with different walks of life, different people, men and women, and I just see that, like, wow, that's to me is awesome. I just I've not maybe experienced what they're experiencing.
Right.
I guess.
It's different.
And so I just and my daughter, who's in a male-dominated film directing, is male-dominated. And just, she just how, she is navigating that. And
what advice do you give her when if she were to ever come to you for, if she would, because, she's an adult now. If she were to say, like, Mom, it is a male-dominated industry, like, I'm just having a really rough time, like, what advice would you give to her, or to any young professional?
Right. I guess really my advice, and I think I mentioned it earlier, is just really advocate for yourself. Really. And if it's not something that's, if it's foreign to you, make it not foreign to you.
Oh, that's good.
Practice and think and write it down and until it's in here, that, advocate for yourself. You have a lot to offer, and you you just you need to be at the table.
Yes, I have a seat at the table.
Exactly.
And I think all women should have it. There needs to be at least one woman, no more, at the table at any sort of meeting.
Right. Well, I know when I actually was on the board of the United Way a long time ago before I took this job, and I would walk in there, and I was the only woman, and there was a bunch of men sitting around the table with ties on, and it was like
Intimidating.
1950s. I don't know what it looked like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And glad to say that's not the case. No, you know, we have many women on our board representing whether it's their occupation or their community leaders. And they all absolutely are valuable to that organization. And, you know, I guess, I don't know, I'd like to say that, I don't know if that's good advice, but my advice is advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
It is about
Get a seat at the table.
Absolutely. You deserve it. You deserve it.
Yeah.
We need to have more women at the table.
Amen.
It's just, whether it's different viewpoints and different ideas. And, I think, we just have to be stronger and just make it happen.
Has there ever been a time in your career, not necessarily with a certain company or maybe with like an organization that you volunteer for, where being a woman has held you back, or you felt like a roadblock, like this is going to be difficult, but I'm going to try to pave my way through? And
I don't know that I've had that experience.
That's good.
Is that
That's
something?
good. No, that's good.
I know that there were times, I won't, say that, that it was difficult sometimes to be noticed, to be seen in some positions, that it took a while. It took, I will say that sometimes it took longer than it would have if I'd been a man.
Yeah.
It's just to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's
I think,
valid.
and I guess I recognized it. I think things happened, and very grateful that they happened. But I will say, just looking back, sometimes I'm like, okay, that took longer probably because I think sometimes people just have to get their mind wrapped around
Like a woman.
a woman. And I was a working mom too at the time.
Right.
So I had little kids, and they knew that. And so, and there was, back in the day, there was still that, even with, he's the head of the family, and so he would need to get that maybe before she would get that type of thing.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that's not a thing anymore.
Right.
But at the time, I had experienced that.
What's your favorite part about being a mom?
My favorite part? Well, I really enjoyed every aspect. I enjoyed when they were little babies and toddlers and in school and doing their whether it was sports or the musical plays and things like that. I enjoyed every aspect of that, but I really enjoy those kids now as adults. We just have the best conversations. We have the best debates. We do.
Healthy debates, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just enjoy just hearing their experiences and their thought processes. They are not shy about calling me out on something they think I'm wrong. And they have changed my mind on things. They really have.
Wow, that's good.
They have made me real, then, like I said, whether it's a debate or explanation or whatever, or citing, sending me, articles. And this is why
I need you to read this, Mom.
Exactly. And they have changed my mind on things. Just, because they're smart. And
well, they gotta look at their mom.
Wow.
I mean, you're pretty great.
Oh,
so
wow.
that's
Michele,
good.
Thank you.
So you're getting ready to retire.
I am.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about?
I think what I'm looking forward to is flexibility, I guess, is what I'm and I'll, I will say this position has, is flexible. They've been wonderful with whatever, I need. But there still is, obviously.
You guys do meetings.
Yeah, you do. And there's only 2 employees there, so there's just a lot going on. You got to keep going. And, but yeah, flexibility. Like I said, my son lives in Charlotte, my daughter lives in Brooklyn. And I would just like, hey, at a whim, something's going on, I'm available. I can come. I can come and see you, or I can, hey, this is going on. Do you want to join us? Yeah, I would love to join you. Nice. I guess that's what I'm looking forward to. Is that I've already got committed to volunteering, which I can't say no because I know how hard it is to get volunteers.
Right.
And I won't, I won't say yes to everything. I'll say yes to a lot of things, but. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm looking forward to, is just smelling the roses type of thing.
Yeah.
Because truly, I'm the type of person who, I was kind of pretty regimented. And so it'd be like, okay, now it's time to relax right now. And then you have like an hour or what, is that kind of a thing? Mm-hmm. Now I would like to
actually relax.
Actually smell the roses and take time and not hurry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not hurry.
Yeah.
That's fun, yeah. And I feel like women do hurry a lot. Always got something going on.
Yes.
Our schedules are always busy.
It's true. And, I guess that's what I'm looking forward to is not doing that.
Out of your career, because you've had kind of like 2 big chapters, you could say, like one before and then now with the United Way. What's been the most rewarding experience out of the whole time of being in the career profession that you're in?
Rewarding, I'll tell you, really just relationships. I have wonderful friends from my Zimmer days who are still my wonderful friends. Mm-hmm. And I have friends from my United Way days who I would expect to continue. They both have given me the opportunity just to experience different lifestyles or different interests, and it just exposed me to, whether it's the arts or food or whatever, just what I just really, really cherish the people that I've met and are part of my life, and just have made it more rewarding and fulfilling. Yes, absolutely. Cool. And just got to experience some things maybe I wouldn't have if I hadn't met those people. And I really, really cherish the people that I've met along the way who really have just made it more fulfilling for me.
Well, I think even though you are retiring, I don't think this is the last time that we're going to see you. I feel like you're still going to be in the community. We're still going to see your face out at events. I have a feeling.
I'll be around.
That you're not going to be at home just like sitting on the couch.
No,
I think we're going to see
there's a lot of stuff going on in this community, and and that's the other thing too. It's just I want to be able to. I want to come to the farmers market more often. I want to go to the PAC more often. I want to do things that this community has to offer, the little theater, just things that this community has to offer. I want to be able to participate more often.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you so much for being here.
Michele, thank you.
This was so, I wanted to do this when I set out to do this last year. I wrote down a bunch of women in the community who I thought, I want to get to know them kind of selfishly. And I had met you briefly last year. I was like, okay, well, now I have the courage to reach out to her this year. So I'm so thankful that you did.
Well, I'm so thankful that we met.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, you are a blessing, and I am so glad that we met. And I'm honored that you wanted to speak with me.
So well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.